This movie was better than it had any right to be. It was so much fun. The animation style is so fluid, so spontaneous, so snappy. The expressions done so vibrantly. I loved the way the characters talked, their movements. It was just a roller coaster from start to finish. Now this is the kind of stuff I love to see. I love that Spider-Verse inspired these highly stylized artistic takes on animation. Instead of us continuing to go for more and more weird realism, we've decided, hey, let cartoons and animation be animation. Go nuts with it. And they did it just that right here. The story of bad guys with a group of quote-unquote villains who have never been given the chance to do anything else but be villains, so why not be the best at it, have found themselves in a situation where, unless they turn good, they go to jail. But of course, it's all a long con. Or is it? I love the character of Mr. Wolf, who is so suave, so smooth, and just a delight to watch how he moves. He is so inspired by Lupin III, it's not even funny. It's actually a little funny. I love how lanky he is. I love how charismatic the character is. There is so much passion put behind this character. It is a feast when it comes to his development. When it comes to Mr. Snake, I also love the way he moves. I love how every instance of how you view the character, he's more or less pretending like his entire body are hands. Like he'll do movement with his tail or a part of his the rest of his body, and he'll move in such a way that is emblematic to how someone would move their hands. And it's those little details that I love looking at when it comes to this movie. And I love how Mr. Snake is so cynical, especially about how the day that they pull off this major heist is his birthday. And I love the friendship that they have between Mr. Snake and Mr. Wolf. How Snake rebels against Mr. Wolf's ultimate genuine attempts to be good. Snake is a treasure. Aquafina as Tarantula, I love Aquafina's voice and just the way Tarantula looks, especially with the buck teeth. And Tarantula is so tiny, so adorable, so cute. I love the little headphones that she wears and the hoodie. It's such a stereotypical thing to have the hacker, but I just love how sassy she is. Aquafina just has one of these voices that are just fun to have and listen to. Although you only do so much with some of the other characters, like Mr. Shark. Just fun because of his whole master of disguise demeanor, where he'll just put on a mustache or a wig and then nobody can tell it's a shark. That's it. That's the joke, and it's funny every goddamn time it happens. And the way he plays Mr. Shark is very reminiscent of King Shark in the Harley Quinn show. A very gentle giant who can be ferocious when need be. And Mr. Piranha, the Maverick, the loose cannon. The fart jokes that they did with him were very childish, but at the same time, the fact that they actually did something with those fart jokes instead of just having them be there to be there, I don't know, it helped me to accept them just a little bit more. It was usually fun just watching Piranha go crazy. And then you have the person who tries to convert them to good guys, Professor Marmalade, who just has a really fun voice. And big spoiler alert, is the ultimate villain of this and set up the bad guys for failure so that he could steal all this money and stuff. It's a very convoluted plan, but it's the kind of plan a genius narcissist would come up with. But you can kind of see Marmalade being the villain coming from a mile away, and that's not just because he's the villain in the book too, because he's one of two very important characters, and the other is the governor, Diane Fox's Lexington, who is, oh my god, I am a furry, and god damn, she's gorgeous. Like, especially just every time she's interacting or just moving in general with anyone or anything, they put a level of detail in how she moves that just really does rival and sometimes surpass what they do with Mr. Wolf. Not to mention the beautiful outfit she wears, how she's so expressive. There's this fantastic scene where Mr. Wolf is in disguise and having a conversation with Diane, and it is such a fun and witty discussion. I love how smart she is. I love how clever she is. There's this dance scene that she has with Mr. Wolf, and because Anthony Ramos, the voice of Mr. Piranha, is a very talented singer, he has this great musical number, which is so good. But man, when they animated Diane and Mr. Wolf dancing, just, oh my god, fell in love harder than I already had when we got to that. Not to mention, they just love showing off those beautiful shoulders that she has. God, I have such a crush on her. Oh, it's so terrible. I hate how much of a crush I have on this character. And then when it's revealed that she's a notorious thief, former thief, known as the Crimson Paw, when the bad guys get arrested because they're framed by Marmalade, and she breaks in to bust them out of jail, and she has this amazing fight scene with all of these guards that is just so insanely well animated. Like, my god, if I wasn't already in love with her, I'd be in love with her even more. Like, she is a total badass ninja, and she's so cool. Not to mention the scene where they try to stop Marmalade's plan on this highway, where she brings out this briefcase that turns into a friggin' motorbike, and she teams up with Miss Tarantula while the boys go off and do their own thing. It is such an adrenaline rush to watch. Like, the animators didn't have to go that hard when it came to a lot of these scenes, but they did. It was insane, intense, just utter insanity. It dials everything up to an 11 every time. And the last character who really needs a mention is the police chief Misty, voiced by the same person who voices Lois in Family Guy, Alex Borstein. She was great. She was great. I love how big she was too, but very much Zenigata vibes from Lupin the Third, constantly chasing down the bad guys and stuff like that. Very dedicated to her job. She has this great back and forth, being outwitted by Mr. Wolf, but never giving up, always with that determination, hot-tempered, hot-blooded. But she's not a jerk. That's the major difference with her. She's not a jerk or an asshole. She's just really about doing her job. And I can kind of just get behind that. Not to mention, I just love just how big and beautiful she is. She's just so adorable character to watch. I love the background characters too. They very much have that Steven Universe, what people call the Cal Art style. It's just the bean mouths and the way they do the faces. You saw a lot of that in Turning Red too, but I don't hate that style. People go for that style because it's simple and easy to draw and animate. You can convey major expressions very easily with those designs. I don't think people are doing it just because it's a popular thing. I think people are doing it because it just makes things a little bit easier on the animators. But I also gotta say, the soundtrack for this series, oh yes, some absolutely amazing music and tracks that they've taken here and there. I became addicted to Stop Drop Roll by Can't Stop Won't Stop. I'm also kind of glad that Bad Guy by Billie Eilish was only used in the trailer, but I wouldn't have hated it if it played during the credits too. And I also kind of appreciated that by the end of things, the bad guys still, well, went to jail. Like, they still went to jail for what they did. They still did a lot of bad things, and so they went to jail at the end of the day, which I thought was ultimately a good message at the end. It still kind of blurs the line on how good it is to be bad, but it was just a great time, and I want to see a sequel for this. I really want to see a sequel for this. This should have gotten so much more money. Like, the furry community really kind of failed me on this, because this should have at least hit 200 million by now. But it's done well enough that come on, guys, I really need you to do a sequel. I want to see it. This movie just knocked it out of the park. And I only saw this because some kids wanted to see it, so I took them. And they were into the book series, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. So I could have easily been on that list of people to blame for why this movie didn't do even better than what it actually did. But man, what else to say? I want Wolf's car. Like, I'm not even a car person, and I want Wolf's car. Oh, such a sick ride. Such a sick ride. But yeah, Bad Guys. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you seen it? If you haven't, please go see it while it's still in theaters. Embrace your inner bad guy. It's so good being bad. But if you like this video, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'll see you later. Till then, bye-bye.